What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with a few little bits of Destiny 2 news, as well as some updates and things related to the game this week and for the remainder of the season. So initially let's round up some of the content that we've had in the game this week, as well as some relevant shoutouts regarding loot and certain rewards in the game. We're also going to talk about a couple of bugs and one at the moment that allows your weapons to do some pretty silly damage. However, we also have some warnings about the Beyond Light pre-order, a couple of additional things associated with the next expansion, and a few more clarifications and insights about content that we'll get a little bit further down the road in Season 11. So guys, I hope you enjoy this one as always, and if you do, a rating down below very much helps me out. But now, let's get into it. And so first, let's speak about a little bit of the content that we've had alongside the weekly reset. And of course, we had the interference mission with the means to an end quest. And as always, we need to run the contact event initially, and then this week we get the option of Nightfall Ordeals, Nightmare Hunts, or PvP to collect Umbral Traces, and we just ran 2 of the Nightmare Hunts on Servitude on the moon as they're really quick. And then we had another run through the interference mission, and we didn't get any of the kind of secretive upcoming versions of that mission that we've seen teased by certain folks in the community, but we did get some new dialogue from Eris, so spoiler alert for the mission commentary this week, but here it is.
This is a linguistic oddity, a back channel, a vocal nod, a yes. The darkness implores us to continue on our current path. Apparently it believes itself to be quite supportive. Curious.
It's kind of interesting because Eris is talking about how the Seed and the Darkness are imploring us to continue on our path. It just says it could even be described as supporting us in some strange way. And of course, Ruinous Effigy itself was a sort of gift from the Darkness, and so she's primarily referencing that, but also the conversation of the tree at the cradle. And I'm sure many of you guys have noticed, but as the story has progressed this season, the Silver Tree is slowly becoming corrupt. And to be honest, I need to catch up on a bit of the lore for this season that we have in the game at the moment, but it is cool to see this tree in silver form and how that matches the original skin for the Ruinous Effigy, but as it becomes corrupt, it kind of matches that same texture or surface that we see on the pyramid ships, but also specifically it matches the ornament for the Ruinous Effigy as well. So that's just kind of interesting right there. But outside of the new Grandmaster Ordeals that we've had return to the game for this season this week, which are extremely challenging, by the way, we are otherwise in the first kind of real quiet downtime for the season so far, although a couple of other quick shouts related to content this week. Firstly, Bungie Help said that on July 16th, they identified the source for most of the Beaver errors appearing on PC, and mitigations appear to have reduced those significantly, but they are still investigating the root cause of the issue, so hopefully more improvements to come, but if you've been affected by that quite a bit, then hopefully it'll be a little bit better already. Another quick shout here, but JP Deathblade pointed out again that for Twitch Prime members, the Tractor Cannon ornament currently available in the Eververse store is actually featured for Twitch Prime rewards for Destiny 2 this month, and so if you're already signed up for that, or if you have Amazon or Twitch Prime in general, you can connect all that to your account and save 1250 bright dust for picking the ornament up. But also on JP Deathblade's website today in Destiny, there is a breakdown of some of the items that we're going to get in the next Twitch Prime drop. So we've got the standoff emote, as well as the Neon Helix shell, the Vespulator Sparrow, and then a legendary ship from Season of the Drifter. According to the schedule at least, that is what will be coming in the next drop. Either way, give us any of your thoughts on the content this week, if you've jumped into those Grandmasters yet, or any other stuff that you're grinding out before November. Before we talk more about Beyond Light stuff, something to mention here is that the Lucent Blade mod from this season is causing a little bit of trouble, so Cheese Forever originally made a video about it, but there's an exploit that allows you to add the damage buff of 35% that you get from Lucent Blade to essentially any weapon. So normally when you do damage with a sword with Lucent Blade equipped, and while charged with light, that initial set of damage would increase the sword's damage by 35% for 5 seconds. But you can apply sword damage to a target, so you can use something like Temptation's Hook. Of course, you get that longer range attack. While charged with light, you use that attack on a target, and that'll trigger the benefits of Lucent Blade. That's where you see the Keen bonus. And basically, before the projectiles do all of their damage ticks on the enemy, you need to switch to a different weapon, so say it's Izanagi's Burden. And then the damage bonus of the Lucent Blade buff will actually be applied to that weapon specifically. So, kind of an interesting thing, actually sort of powerful. You can see if you're running some content solo right here, and you can get charged with light reasonably easily. It is strong because you can go ahead, send that volley of damage with Temptation's Hook, and then follow up with something like Izanagi's Burden. And it's pretty ridiculous for taking out tanky targets, as well as general DPS, so of course there is the potential that Bungie could go ahead and disable the mod or try and fix this in some way relatively immediately, but we'll have to wait and see. Nonetheless, if you want a further explanation of exactly how the glitch works, I will link Cheese Forever's video down in the description. Here though, we have a bit of a pre-order warning about Beyond Light, and a few different players have reported that if you pre-ordered Beyond Light on PlayStation before Bungie announced the delay for the expansion, they have actually been emailing folks and asking if they want to keep the pre-order, and stating that without a response, they may automatically refund purchases. And basically, this is because, of course, the date that was originally on the product when it was sold has now changed. So it's just something to bear in mind. You may have had that email from PlayStation, but apparently any pre-orders that have happened since they announced the delay aren't going to be notified about this, of course. So could be something to look into if you want to avoid that being cancelled or something. Although pre-orders, I'm assuming, will still be possible until pretty much any time before November 11th when it actually drops. Something I noticed right here, but Lorcanuck on YouTube had actually recorded some new music that Bungie played on the reveal stream for Beyond Light. Doesn't appear to be present in Season of Arrivals, so there are two parts in the video they share, and this will be some brand new Beyond Light music, potentially in a slightly early form, although it does sound pretty awesome. It sounds pretty finished to me. So if you want a sneak peek of what we could hear potentially on the loading screen for the game, or simply part of the theme for that upcoming content drop, then I will link that video down below. People have also spoken about Savathun's song. There was speculation as to whether it could actually be featured inside of that upcoming soundtrack. But of course, Savathun's song, at least according to Bungie now, is the musical theme from the Shadowkeep expansion. And that's the same one that caused curiosity when Shax was humming the tune and singing about the moon being made of cheese. But actually, that same theme does run in things like the Garden of Salvation, and quite a few different pieces of content associated with Shadowkeep, but has since been confirmed to be Savathun's song, and obviously will be a recurring theme for quite some time yet. Something that players spoke about regarding the updated director that Bungie previewed for Beyond Light is that the Traveller inside of the UI right here doesn't appear to be damaged in the same way that we can see in the director currently in the game. And some folks speculated that was simply the way the Traveller looked on the D1 map. Actually, it isn't quite identical. This is updated and is visually improved quite a bit, but also it could potentially just be a placeholder. Folks have speculated had the Traveller been slowly healing in the game over the past few months. I've compared some footage from a few months ago to pretty recently, and I can't see any major differences, but who knows, maybe what we're seeing on the director here alongside Europa could indicate that something is going to change with the Traveller during that content drop. But once again, pretty heavy speculation at the moment, but I'd be curious to hear your thoughts in the comments section regardless. Circulating on Reddit recently, there's been a supposed leak for the Vex Mythoclast. It's just a leaked image of the weapon inside of collections. Once again, unanimously at the moment, folks seem to think that this is probably a fake, and I think that is likely to be true. But again, as we've spoken about recently, it does raise the question as to how Bungie will reprise content like the Vault of Glass, and whether all of the rewards that we originally had with it will be returned to the game in some form. And it kind of feels like the natural thing to do for a piece of content so iconic, right? At least it would certainly suck to get randomly rolled Whirlpool legendary weapons or something from the Vault of Glass and not an original set associated with it. I doubt that's going to be the case. But again, it's an interesting conversation, so I'll be curious to hear any of your thoughts about the reprise of the Cosmodrome as well as VOG inside of Year 4. Now, onto the subject of this season's content. A lot of folks have speculated and wondered over the past few weeks when we are going to see a continuation of the Evacuation quest, because of course we have seen the preparation segment of it. But JP Deathblade points out that as far as he knows, the normal legendary quest and the exotic quest both appear to be quests that we can kind of complete in one sitting if we wanted to. And so despite the fact that the upcoming Evacuation exotic quest, which of course will reward the Traveller's chosen exotic sidearm, despite the fact that that quest is so long, it'll probably be something that drops without any kind of time gates, although once again we will have to wait and see. And according to JP Deathblade's Eververse schedule, it looks like Bungie did move back the exotic ornament dropping for that weapon until the 8th of September. And if that's going to correlate with the quest, then Bungie have probably moved that around on the basis of the delay with Beyond Light as well. So bear in mind that for the exotic quest itself, that date will be our next best guess. And the exotic version of Evacuation actually has 13 steps. That's 13 non-go see vendor steps where we actually do strikes, heroic adventures, and destination activities, as well as a bunch of other stuff. But there are a total of 22 steps to the quest itself, and that includes the 9 separate vendor visits through the duration of the quest, so that'll certainly be interesting as well. Otherwise, as some final mentions, another thing that Bungie haven't spoken about just yet would be more reveals for Beyond Light. So they've said that in the coming weeks and months we're definitely going to hear more. And we know that also Bungie are going to be associated with Summer Game Fest at some point. There was some coverage of their original reveal for Beyond Light, if we're expecting any further kind of large scale reveals associated with bigger events. Since Bungie don't have anything listed separately on the Game Fest schedule, Gamescom, starting on August 27th running up to the 30th, is also a possible time for reveals. The very final thing I wanted to shout out right here though, is that my friends over at Numskull have got a bunch more Destiny 2 merch, some of it in preparation for Beyond Light. So firstly, they have the Tubbs cosplaying Ducks collection, and they've got the Stranger now, as well as Saint 14, the Drifter, Shax, Eris, Sweeperbot, and Cade. But then they've also got the Beyond Light Stranger Limited Edition statue. Certainly some very, very cool stuff, so if you want to check any of it out, I will link Numskull's website down in the description box below as well. But for now guys, on a relatively quiet week for this season so far, that is everything we have to speak about in the video, so I hope you found some of the updates and conversation interesting, and as always I appreciate you tuning in. If you've enjoyed the video, a rating below very much helps me out, but also feel free to get subscribed so I can keep you posted with the world of Destiny 2. However, for now, whatever you guys get up to, I hope you have an awesome day.